Welcome. Hi, Naomi. You're the first one here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Annabelle, oh, awesome. You made it. Good. So we'll just wait a few moments. You guys are the on-time people. So we'll wait a few moments, see who else joins. So I invite you, while we're waiting, to just center down into the ground. If you've just joined, say something in the chat, say hello. We have the first person and the second person that have joined who've said hello already. Say hello so I know you're here. And tell me where you're from. Where are you located right now? Some of you I know, some of you are new to my work. So say something in the chat, say hello, let me know where you're from. And I invite you all to really slow down in this moment. Allow your body to be felt. Allow your body to be felt. And what I mean by that is, hey, I'm walking around with this body all day long, but sometimes I can be in this head, in a world which doesn't exist, in a world where there's a movie playing, and I'm almost disconnected to this body that's saying things sometimes, that's saying, hey, I'm tired, or hey, I want to do this. But the head is like saying all this other stuff. Giacomo, hope I pronounce your name right. Welcome from Berlin. Who else is here right now? Which countries do we have in the room? Some of you guys know me, and some people are new to my work. So we have Berlin, we have Naomi from the US, we've got Annabelle from the UK. Who else is here? NYC, awesome. Bill, you've come to my workshops before. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Anyone else from a very interesting country? I used to play this game when there was lockdown going on, and I used to get like 30 different countries and 500 people coming to my sessions. It was crazy. It was lots of fun. Lithuania, there we go. We got an interesting place. Hi, Deauville. Nice to see you. Good. So welcome, everyone. So the first thing that I want everyone to do when they're in conversation with me one-on-one, or if you're in a group with me, if you're in any kind of work with me, is to slow yourself down, is to presence into the body. So I invite you to do that right now before we get into today's topic. And this isn't a kind of performance, right? To say, hey, I must sit and meditate now and become into samadhi, into some state of peace. Instead, it's just slowing down and saying, I feel this weight that I carry all day. I feel this flesh and bones, and maybe my muscles are a little tired. So check in with yourself, go into your body, scan your body, go to your feet. What do your feet feel like? You can close your eyes if you prefer, or keep them open. What do your calves feel like? Have you been walking around all day? What do the hips feel like? The hips get so tense. Definitely do for me, and I have to open them up and loosen them. And check in with your glutes. This is such an interesting area where the glutes might be tensing sometimes when there's a state of go or thinking or worry or panic. The glutes are sometimes tensing, right, without us even knowing. I started noticing this a few years back. I was in engagement with a embodiment coach, and she said to me, she was like taking me through certain postures, and then she said, "Relax your glutes," and I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Your glutes are tensing. Like, why are glutes tensing so much?" And I didn't even realize that they were tensing. They were tensing because I was going into this performance mode, right? This clenching activity. Just being in that space with her, I was going into this kind of unconscious mode of tension, right? So I started learning to relax my glutes, as crazy as it sounds, right? It was a mind-blowing thing for me at the time. I started realizing, wow, like, let me just like create some space down there. And it's linked to the chakras. So some of you guys know I wrote a book called The Power Centers, which talks about the chakras in a very simple and modern way. So we store tension in our lower body sometimes, and it stops us from being creative or authentic because we're trying to clench onto something or be a certain way sometimes. So just notice your glutes right now. Do they feel like they're comfortably sitting? Can you widen your glutes, as strange as it sounds? And let me know, feedback to me in the chat as we go through this session. My sessions are always interactive. Hey, Aika, nice to see you. Summer Star, nice to see you again. My sessions are always experiential, right? I'm not trying to tell you a dogma or a thing that is absolutely true that you must mold into. We have enough of that stuff in the world, or we've grown up through schooling that's given us enough of that, those ideals to go towards. Instead, I want you to be in your experience. I'll offer some guidance, I'll offer some teaching, some things for you to notice. And my thing is, I'm trying to empower you, right? So notice your glutes and then move up to your stomach. Stomach is the most interesting area for many people, right? Stomach digestion problems. How many of you guys in the chat, be honest, have had stomach digestion problems and you tried all these things and it hasn't fixed it, right? Have you experienced that your stomach might get these knots or digestion issues and you've been trying to figure out what it is and you're getting tense? I've had many clients who've had stuff like this and they've tried cleanses, they've tried this and that and this and that. Me too, by the way. So many stomach issues I was having, digestion issues, certain weight was on my body. And I realized it was actually from my mind. It was my mind that was tensing the stomach, again, bracing. I said this to one of my old clients. I said, "You're bracing your stomach. Do you think I'm about to punch you or something? Do you think there's an attack coming?" And she was shocked. Like I say things like this to people sometimes to awaken them instantly. She's like, "What? What do you mean?" And I was like, "You're bracing your stomach. Like, what's going on? Why is the stomach bracing?" Then we uncovered and realized that there was some defense program in place, right? When we're talking about taking action, we're talking about doing this certain thing, her stomach would just get tense. And then we discovered that there's been all these digestion problems. She tried this and that and that and this. And eventually after a few months, all her stomach problems disappeared because we were creating a state of relaxation and safety within her, right? So notice your stomach. I'm introducing today's session with vital fundamentals, let's just call it, before we go into the core topic of today. So keep throwing things in the chat, make this interactive. Don't make this a one-way thing. We have YouTube for that. I would love for some engagement in the chat to make this more interesting for me and for you guys. So, especially you guys that already know me, I'm gonna pick on you to be the ones that lead that, being in the chat. So that's my invitation. Stomach, chest. Now, notice your chest. Is your chest tense in any way? This huge one for me because I had challenges with many relationships, challenges with hurt, right? Storing hurt that I didn't even realize I was storing from my childhood or wherever it came from, things that have happened where, I was fearful, scared, to be honest. So our hearts can be so tender. So my invitation is just take a breath into the heart right now with me. And imagine that the breath widens the heart. I promise if you really do this with me, you will notice a shift. And close your eyes if you wish. We'll do that a few more times. Take a breath and feel like it's moving into you and it's widening the chest. It's creating an elixir, soothing. And as you breathe out, feel like you're releasing anything, as if there's some black smoke in there that can just come out. Let's continue that. Breathing in, a golden elixir widens your chest. And then breathing out, a dark smoke comes out. Now let's do it a bit more actively. Breathing in with a power, a fire coming into you. And then breathing out, purging, releasing anything you don't need anymore. Get rid of it. Black smoke out of you. Anything from the heart. Old stuff. Pains, fears. 2 more times. Breathing in, breathing out. Final time, breathe in and allow all the air to come into your stomach as well. And just breathe out. Okay, open your eyes if they were closed. Tell me if you feel a little bit different after that. What do you notice? Scan your body. Like I said, since you've talked about weight and spirituality, I've been conscious of the moment I wake up and every meal. Yeah, I can be confronting sometimes with my teachings. I'll introduce you to myself. Put a yes in the chat if you've never come to any of my sessions before. I know a bunch of you are regular, you've worked with me, some of you one-on-one. But if you've never come to my chat, if you never come to my session, say yes in the chat. All right, Maria Liz, hope I pronounced that right. Rianne, Annabelle, yeah, okay, great, good to have you here. Good. So I'll introduce myself briefly, right, for the benefit of you guys. So where do I start? I'll make this the short version. So I grew up having a lot of social anxiety, not knowing why I was so sensitive to other people. Most people don't believe me, but I used to go bright red. I used to sweat anytime the attention was on me. I used to wear black clothing to hide it. I got attention from people and I didn't like it, right? I would hide, I would dim my voice down. However, I always knew from a young age that there was some voice inside of me. there was some potential in. I knew I could speak in front of people and be a star, right? I knew it, but it was my biggest fear. So in classroom, people would laugh because, they'd wonder why, like, I was stuttering and all this kind of stuff, right? I was very functional though. I ended up in great careers. I was like the youngest in all of my teams. I ended up being a corporate consultant, doing quite well, to be honest. But there was always this fear of being seen, right? So I went down all sorts of routes. I even I even tried to find operations and then drugs, right, to try and block this kind of sweating and this fight or flight response. But the thing that started changing was when I got into my body. So I started by bodybuilding, actually. So some people notice that when I meet them, they're like, "Wow, you have big muscles, and but you're calm at the same time." And that's because the whole thing, all my teachings, everything has started from bodybuilding, weightlifting, nutrition. That's where I differ slightly from other spiritual teachers or whatever, right? Because I've come from that side of like growing big and, creating things. And then this London born hustle mentality, you go and you create, right? You work, you party. I was doing all of that kind of stuff. But then I found yoga at one point. Yoga, I'll share Lisa the point in a moment. I'll thread it in somewhere in here. So I found yoga at one point 9 years ago. I walked into my first yoga class, and you know why I went to the yoga class? Because I liked the girl that was inviting me. That was the only reason. There's no like special calling. Maybe there was underneath, but that girl changed my life. I was the only guy in the class, for years, and that girl changed my life because it was the first time I ever felt relaxed in my life. Bodybuilding wasn't doing it for me, right? Bodybuilding made me feel powerful and strong and some sort of release. But when I sat there in Shavasana multiple times, I was hooked. I'd felt like I was on drugs and I wanted more of it, right? So I went down the whole route of Patanjali's path he's laid out. Who here is a yogi? Who here understands what I'm talking about when I say the route of Patanjali? Who here is a yogi? You don't have to be, and don't feel bad if you're not. All my teachings are catered for everyone, right? Okay, great. Um, Yeah, okay, we got some. Yeah, yeah, sure. Good, good, good. So I went down the route and I wanted to understand because it was helping I literally dreamed to be free from this social anxiety. I used to sit there like lost and wishing for some way to be free. And this gave me something that made me feel better, right? So I was like, I need to know how to experience this thing he talks about called samadhi, right? When you're blissed out and you're free and you're liberated. I need to know. I'm a bodybuilder. I know how to do stuff. I know how to hack things. So I took this scientific approach to it, right? Okay, let me do certain practice. Let me read the technicalities of all of this. Let me understand it. Let me practice it. So I spent years sitting alone in my room practicing, not seeing many people apart from my parents. Had long hair at one point. I went deep into the practices of Kundalini yoga, understanding certain breath practices, holding breath, experiencing things which were like death, let's just call it, right? Putting my body into a place where it was thinking it's going to die for the purpose of me experiencing something beyond my body, right? I won't go too much into those practices, but let's just say certain practices were really helpful, which allowed the energy, the kundalini, you may call it, to move through my body and show me things. And then I had a mentor as a female, and she helped me in ways that I can't explain, and she's mysteriously disappeared from my life. I think for a reason. She did that on purpose, I believe. No contact, nothing. Uh, I worked with her for a little bit. She was helping me with certain chakras and understanding my purpose, let's just say. Um, and then where was I going with this now? I've lost my track a little bit. Oh, okay. So my story. So then I left everything behind and quit my job because I wanted to travel. Something was telling me to travel, right? And by the way, I'm going to get into today's subject in a moment, but this is all weaving into it, right? When I write the subject of today of finding meaning, finding purpose, this is what I was doing, right? I was trying to find some meaning in life. So I go and travel. I went all around Asia, South America. It was meant to be 3 months. It turned into like 18 somehow because things were just constantly coming. Um, and I couldn't find a job. I wanted to find a job, but I couldn't. Life was telling me no, right? So I realized that I realized I had a higher purpose at that point, right? And my purpose was to bring all these teachings from bodybuilding, from understanding nutrition and all of that energy stuff to people in some way. So I get a personal trainer qualification. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I get a meditation teacher training. I go and do yoga teacher training. I go and do coach training. I go and do leadership training. I try and do all these things to figure out what I want to do, right? Um, and then I realize I don't want to help people's bodies look good. I want that to be something they have. Every single person that works with me has a ultimate machine of a body, without fail. Every single person will have that just as a byproduct, right? But that was not what I wanted to help them with, right? And then I realized I don't want to sit there like as a meditation teacher or a yoga teacher. I did it for a little bit, but it would feel like a bit superficial for me. No judgment for anyone that does that. It will feel a bit less intimate because people would come and then they'd disappear and that's it, right? I couldn't go deep with them. So I found this thing called coaching, um, which allowed me to be holistic with people. And then I fused that with the leadership work that I was doing in my corporate job. I was working as a data leader, let's just call it, with the IT field, with understanding requirements, etc. I started fusing that with this powerful transformational work to help people turn their life into a project, right? To turn their life into a project to have whatever they want. And it's been 5 years I've been doing that. I've coached over 1,000 hours um, with people. So it's been a journey of learning and seeing that what I'm really good at is to help to free people through what I call a unified approach, right? So that's a bit of an introduction, and I'll tell you more about those approaches in a moment. But in the chat, this always happens, right? I'm curious, and I feel this intuitively to ask you guys. In the chat, tell me which part of my story relates to you. I'm being very direct there. That's just coming from intuition, and I trust my intuition all the time. I'm speaking to you. Which part of my story speaks to you? Be courageous, put it in the chat. I call it sharing it to declare it, freeing the voice, speaking out loud, getting out of the echo chamber. There you go. You guys love saying this out loud because it's exciting, right? Yeah, good. You're on a great path, you guys. Well done. Like people sometimes see me and they see where I am now, and as soon as I provide context, they're like, "Ah, okay, now I can relate to you more, right? Because you didn't just start doing this thing and you think you're better than other people. Some people get that from me sometimes." And I'm like, "Hey, like I'm not trying to be better than anyone, but I have been through some stuff that could help, right?" So awesome. You guys have got this journey that you're on. So the beginning, which part of the beginning? Be specific, just so I understand who I'm speaking to, right? And I'll serve you guys even more deeply once I know more about you. I want to make this session as if it's a group session, as if it's a paid session, as if we're on a retreat. That's how I serve in all of my work, right? Whether you're paying me or you're not. So make the most out of this time, right? That's my invitation. Speak in the chat, make the most out of this time. So we've got gaining qualifications whilst traveling. We've got taking lots of courses trying to find my purpose. Yeah, that's very common. It's very common. Taking lots of courses. Exactly. Freeing the voice and speaking out loud, helping others. Yeah. And now here's a little edge, right? I'm gonna give you a little edge. What's the biggest challenge you're having right now? Who wants to be courageous enough to put that in the chat in this playful and safe space that we have? What's the challenge? What challenge do you have that if I was to help you get rid of that or go through that, you would feel blissed out? What's the challenge? And that again helps me, it informs me in terms of continuation of today's session. So who's gonna say what they want right now? And I'll do my best to deliver you that. What's the challenge? What do you want to overcome? Is it that you're taking all these courses and it's like maybe I just need to decide what to do, right? Or is it that you're confused of who you are? I've had that. I'll get into that in a moment. Who am I? Who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. It's scary. I have nothing to hold on to. The past version of me doesn't make sense, and now I don't even know what to do next. Or I've been hurt in the past, and now I've lost my confidence. Any of that ring to you guys? Finding a job at 60, yeah. Finding my purpose, older. I'm 61, had an NDE. Oh, wow, okay. Near-death experience leading to spiritual awakening. Okay. Guiding my 21-year-old autistic son on his right journey. Awesome. Leadership. All this is leadership, guys. I don't hold titles that closely to me, but one title I do hold very close enough, let's just say, is leadership. Spiritual is leadership. Um, dealing with the purpose, going into a purpose is leadership, right? Leading a relationship, that's leadership. Peace is a state of leadership. I'm being led and I'm leading. Okay, good. Fear of choosing the wrong thing. Yeah, I'm glad you're being straight up. When people are straight up with me, it makes it easier for me because now I can help you, right? I'm glad you're being straight up. I invite that in. Lonely at 65, kids on around, want to find a new purpose. Awesome. Good, 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 guys. So we got a range of people here. So let's dive into today's session then. That's perfect timing, right? Getting older, getting lonely, finding meaning, finding peace. Why did I name the session that? I'll tell you why. I've had an existential crisis throughout my life. Someone put a yes in the chat if that's you as well. I've had an existential crisis throughout my life. I'll repeat that. It started when I was, actually, no, I was about to say 25. It started way earlier. It started even when I was in like young childhood. I was like, who am I? You know? Continues. It has continued. It will continue, I'm sure. Right? And I'm owning that with playfulness. Getting older, getting lonely. You're aware of your mortality. You're aware that time is passing. Perhaps, and I'm not saying this is true or not true, but perhaps you might regret past decisions. You might feel like you've lost time. Anyone feel like that? You feel like, you know what have I been doing all these years? What have I done this past 3 months? What did I do last year? And you feel like that's not a nice feeling that time's passed or you're getting old or you're this place. Why am I here now? Yeah, yeah. So there's a few people here saying yes. Good. I'm glad you're being honest. You know, I've had that existential crisis and that feeling of what am I doing? You know? And then the other part was like the lonely part that can appear as a part of that, perhaps. Because now the walls start closing in, right? because this old getting older thing comes up, and this what am I doing with my life comes up. What have I done? What's next? So now the walls start closing in and the mind gets faster. And then what does it do? The mind starts going into survival mode. And it's either closes down or it tries to do anything it can to feel alive. It tries to find any hit or any buzz through this person, through this food, through this experience, because it doesn't know the answer to what do I do next. So it's trying to find something to give that feeling or suppress that feeling. Anyone relate? I'm speaking about my own experiences. I'm speaking about clients I've worked with. And none of this is shaming. It's not a shaming exercise. You know, I worked in the field of data for many years. I'm collecting data all the time because that helps me to protect my emotional energy when I can just be really honest and say, this is just what's happening. Let me be honest about that, right? So trying to find the next hit. Yeah, there you go. Trying to find the next hit because you desire aliveness. You love to make the most out of your time, don't you? It's important for you to know that you're making the most out of your time. Yeah, Lynn, we're aligned. And here's the thing, I'm not the spiritual teacher who is going to override that and say, "Hey, you must just be present." I'm actually in a field of embracing that feeling of I want to make the most out of time. I'm not going to try and spiritually get rid of that and say I have to just like be okay with anything. There's a non-duality way of looking at that, which is, yeah, definitely ground, be happy as at life right now. That's why I started the session with be in your body. I'm okay right now. Can I show myself I'm okay as a skill, not as a thought or a theory? Can I physically through my body ease my glutes? And let's do that again right now so you can practice it. Relax your legs. Notice your breath. And see if you can notice a swirling around your heart right now. A swirling energy. And then see if you can find an inner smile. And then see if you can remember the childhood you, the playful energy. So right now, this is who you are. This is what you have. This is what's true. And I don't want to sit here all day, do I? You can if you want. But from this state, hey, what would be your fullest expression of life? So getting older is a feeling that I want us to embrace. I want us to embrace the fear of time running out. I want us to embrace the anxiety rather than, hey, I must do something, get rid of the anxious feeling. There's a seed in that. The seed of anxiety is that the anxiety is trying to inform something. It's not happening for no reason. We're not designed that way. So this might sound like reverse of what you might have heard or what you might be doing. But see if you can notice how I'm trying to get this across to you. The anxiety has a seed which wants you to express your life in the best way you can. So that's the getting older part. And the getting lonely part comes as an effect, because we might box ourselves in or close ourselves off. Anyone relate to that? Do you close yourself off because getting older things coming up, or because you're not sure about something, thinking a lot? I've done it so many times. I've been in a place and I'm not really there. I've been in a place and I'm not really there. I'm in some other illusion. So use the anxiety as motivation. Yeah, that's it. Here's a lesson I want you to leave today with. All of my teachings are based off life force. For years I've been saying that, some of you guys know. The life force can be described as the feminine energy, perhaps, the forever moving, changing, the power, nature. It's the only boss I have. That's my phrase I say. It's who I work for. In India, I'm in India right now. There are feminine deities such as Kali. Anyone into that kind of stuff? Put a yes in the chat. Shakti. Yeah, so this force, this is the teaching I want you to leave with. This force will manifest as thoughts, feelings. It will manifest as your voice, how you express it. So all of this stuff is a result of life force moving through us, right? Anything that's moving and changing is that. Just like leaves and wind and air and fire and sun and day and night are moving constantly. This is a constant movement. Thoughts, everything is coming from that place. So that must mean that thoughts are also coming from a divine place, right? So they can't be wrong. So anxiety, it can't be wrong. It's a signal. It's a bodily signal to say something. And in the end, it knows that we have a time limit. Our bodies know that its destiny is to end. Our physical body, this is taken from the yogic teachings. Our physical body knows that we have a time limit. So the mind is linked into that, because the mind is now saying, yeah, you know, you got a time limit. What are you doing with your time? And then there's another layer to it that can connect to the spirit, the soul, which has a purpose for being on this earth. This is where it gets exciting and deeper. This is how you really connect mind, body, and spirit beyond the cute phrase of mind, body, spirit. The soul knows that it has a purpose. It knows it wants to drive this car somewhere and see things along the way and learn things and share things. It knows it's a destiny, has come for a reason. So it knows and it's whispering, saying, hey, when are you going to listen to me? I'm going to bug you until you listen. You go and do this thing over there, but you're going to feel unsatisfied. I'm telling you now. And then you go and do it and you feel unsatisfied. And you know all along there's the soul calling you to live something, to express something, to learn something. Learn something is the highlight I want to leave there. To learn things. Anything I've ever done, anything I've ever helped my clients with is to help them to learn, right? To gain life experience, to overcome things, to overcome fears, to overcome uh, resistances, to overcome a block of their own feminine energy or masculine energy. So now they're free, now they're more empowered. And now whatever they do with their career, with their life is going to be illustrious. So are you guys getting what I'm putting down here about the whole age thing? And this is leaning into what I mean about finding meaning, finding purpose. The only meaning is to learn through life, though, through a life experience, through an action. And that's how you have peace, when you tap into that potential inside. So I'll tell you a few stories now. I had a client a few years back who was in a job as a architect. I would love if she's here. I don't think she's here 'cause she would have put something in the chat otherwise. Um, as an architect, and she hated it. She'd come onto these calls with me, and she'd just be like stressed. She knew though. She knew she had something bigger in her. And then one day, you know what she does? She shows me a painting that she's done of an apple, and my mind was blown. I've never seen someone paint something so realistic in my life. I was shocked. I was like, where have you been hiding this? You told me you're into art, but I didn't know you were that good. And then we realized that's what she cares about most, art and culture and music and dance. So it took her some years, but she ended up leaving that. And now she's in the process. I haven't worked with her for a few years, but she messaged me and she's like, I'm in the process of creating an art studio where artists can come for art retreat. And she's like, I don't even know how I'm going to get money to do all this. We're trying to raise funds. We're not, we're struggling a bit financially, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And she's so happy. She doesn't even know how she's going to do this thing, but she's so happy that she's doing it, right? So I want to invite you into that. You can be extremely happy when you listen to that voice. Because now she has meaning and purpose to her day. She wakes up saying, I'm going to go and work on this thing. So, what do you want to create? What's your creative side of you calling you for? What wants to be expressed? Do you have a voice that wants to be expressed? Do you have a leadership quality in you? Do you want to help others, like people have put in the chat? I want you in the chat to share what some higher calling, some purpose, some thing that feels a little bit illogical or you might not be sure about, even hesitant to even type it into the chat. I invite you to put it in the chat right now. What feels like some calling, something you want to do and learn through that doing. Someone put it in the chat. Or all of you put it in the chat. I dare you. What is it? What's this like purposeful life? What's life really calling you towards right now? It might be relationship. Maybe you want to have a relationship. Maybe you want to have children. Maybe you have this business you want to start. Maybe you want to learn something. Maybe you want to be more self-expressed. Maybe you want to feel more into your sensuality. That might sound weird coming from me as a man, but it's a thing. It's a thing. You want to feel your body more, and that's freedom as well. I went down that path myself. I realized there was restriction through all this yogic practice and this seriousness and too much structure that I was missing some feeling sensations, you know, and the pleasure of doing things even. Again, it's an energy thing. So we've got Rian says, I want to help others. In what would you like to help people? Do you know yet? And that's no pressure, but I'm going to challenge you and be more specific. What would you love to help people in? We have better diet. Awesome, because your life force is dependent on the physical life force you're putting into your body as well. Look, I'll show you what I have right next to me. You know what this is? This is a bag of oranges. These are Indian gooseberries, spinach, carrots, beetroot, ginger, and there's like a bunch of bananas right there. Apples. These things make me feel so good. Eating too much spicy food, I'm in India right now, doesn't make me feel so good. I am still doing it sometimes, but it doesn't make me feel so good. So this is all important to having clarity of mind, to being focused as well, right? I call it energy mastery. One of the things that every client will get from me is they will, like I said earlier, their body will physically start to glow and look better just by osmosis, because I'm sharing things, I'm giving them rituals that I'm doing, they will automatically become me leading by example, right? They will become that, and then they will have great energy. And then great energy allows them to think more clearly, and that allows them to create things that they want with more potency. That allows energy to be freed. But there's a bunch of other things. It's not just about food, right? The before you get hooked into all the gut microbiome marketing that's out there by famous doctors, you know. So don't get hooked into that. I call my teachings a unified mastery is what I call it, where you're unifying foods, body with purpose, taking action with the deeper heart stuff that hurts deep down inside, right? You have to do all. This is what 12 years of looking into this stuff has taught me. You have to have it all. All right. So what else have we got into the chat? Teach, share meditation to others. Awesome, Nancy. When are you going to take that to the next level? And I'm being direct with you because I can challenge sometimes, can't I? And I believe most people take that in a good way. When are you going to take that to the next level, Nancy? Help clients transform and become more confident, says Aika. Awesome. I'm going to challenge you there as well. When are you going to take that to the next level? When are you going to radiate confidence? And when are you going to be confident in giving them confidence? There you go. That's it. Hope that landed. Life is calling for love, nothing else more than choosing love, not being complacent, but acting in love with your action. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for reminding us. 100% love, right? And here's another teaching I want you to know. Um, I'll come back to it actually. Let me just read the chat first. So, to once again embrace the wonder of life with parents who have lost children to suicide like me. Wow. Okay, awesome. I'm really glad that you found something that you want to help people with that you've experienced. This is the thing that I realized after all of the searching for what I can help people with. In the end, the most passionate thing was through me. through me feeling like I didn't have a voice, through me knowing I had potential, through me feeling like I was put down by others or feeling small, right? I had challenges with masculine energy, feminine energy, all this kind of stuff. So I realized let me help people with that after I've gone through certain lessons that could help them, right? And then also the other thing is I like to help people tap into their indigenous wisdom. Indigenous, right? I am Indian by blood, and a massive journey for me has been really owning that, right? Really owning that. Doesn't matter if I was born in the UK, I've got this skin and this blood and this ancestry, and all of you have that. Everyone has this thing before we were taught things, right? This primal energy. So I'm glad you guys are. Yeah, let me just see what else we've got. I would like to truly meet myself in my authenticity, heal my nervous system, free expression, be a part of others feeling seen. See, it's in your own pain. Pain is a massive driver. Pain is a massive driver. And the thing I want to share is someone said life is calling for love. Love is important. I'm going to share a teaching that hopefully will be useful for you. So please slow down and pay attention. I spent some time in the Amazon jungle with a shaman, and it was a very destructive experience. Uh, Very destructive because I went in thinking, I'm gonna go with this shaman's gonna help me with this medicine, all this stuff, and it did, but I didn't realize how much destruction it would have created for me afterwards, after a few weeks and months. It started, I started losing things in my life, people, identity, things, all sorts of stuff, right? Ultimately, what it was trying to show me, even when I was in the jungle, right, it was showing me that love has different faces, right? That love can be very powerfully aggressive sometimes, right? Love can have this fiery energy. Love is also so soft and caring. It's, hey, you can melt here. Giving someone that feeling of, hey, you're protected, you can melt. I have had experiences in meditation where I've felt this energy of mother, right? A blue feminine energy, which all it said to me was, I'm here to listen. Tell me what hurts. Tell me whatever you want to share, whatever you want to say, I'm here to listen in the most beautiful voice. And I often come back to that. And it's something that I try and encourage in my sessions with my clients and to help them to experience as well, right? That beautiful, loving feeling of, hey, like, I see you. I see you and I care. And I see you're sad or you're hurting or it doesn't feel good and I see you're sick. Okay, I'm gonna help you. You're sick, and now I feel sad and I feel sick as well, seeing you like that. Anyone relate to that? Any mothers here relate to that feeling? Or even fathers, you guys, you relate to this feeling? This real, like, soft, warm, like, I'm here to listen. Whatever you want to say, you can say it. You can say it. I'm not even going to tell you what to do. I just want you to be able to express it because I care so much about you. Yeah. Can you feel that for yourself? Can you allow yourself right now to be that, to be seen and be felt? be so authentic and so real because this love is there. This is the part of the session of finding peace, knowing there's this possibility to be unmasked. It hurts, you can cry. People cry in sessions with me sometimes. And I'm like, okay, good. Then there's this other side of love that I was pointing to. You see how I can switch sometimes. There's another side of love. And I'm gonna invite you to be open to what I'm gonna say. Another side of love is fire. It's aggressive. It will do what it takes. It will fight and protect. It will kill if it has to. I know that sounds extreme, but I said this to my client the other day. I said to her, because she was getting overly spiritual, overly emotional, overly, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, by the way, but I'm saying that it was off balance. She was so internalized with everything. And even the history of the work that she's done, she's spent years going into all these spiritual teachings, healing journeys, and it wasn't going anywhere. It's just the same old stuff. So she starts working with me, and I observe these with everyone I'm working with. I see elements, right? I see an elemental possibility. So I realize she requires more fire. There's a fiery part of her which is suppressed because of all the spiritual teachings, right? All the spiritual teachings have suppressed something in her now. What the hell has happened? I thought this spiritual stuff's meant to be good for you. No, there's another side that's often unexplored on the spiritual part. That's fire. So I started helping her to awaken this fire that she has almost been scared to embrace. This was the same for me, by the way, right? Scared to embrace this confident part of myself, this fiery part of myself, because of what people might think, because of a history of playing small and being the one that gets told what to do all the time, right? Rather than me being in my own fire and shining. So I said to her, if someone walked into your home with a knife and they threatened your family, what would you do? I was confronting her. And I started noticing her energies getting switched on, activated. She's like, I would attack them because I have to in that situation, right? She has to. If someone's about to throw a knife in someone's face that you love, what would you do? There's a part of us inside, right? It's not saying to hurt anyone, but what I'm saying is there's a part of us which leaps into action, which goes forth without holding back. It's relentless. And this is another side of love. There's a force in the world which will come and protect us. There's a force. There's lightning that strikes. There's wind that happens for the right reason. There's people that come into our life to protect us. There's powerful forces that are fire. So that's also love. That's also love. Storms are also a form of love. Rain is a form of love. Floods are a form of love. Can you guys take that in? Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to pause for a moment. What are you taking from this? What's this activating in you? What are you realizing about yourself? What's your insight from hearing me speak? Put some things into the chat. Finding meaning and finding purpose also means I wake up and I switch on. If it's too introspective, if there's over-indexing on thoughts and emotions, then you can easily get stuck there. Fire brings clarity and activation. That's why we have a right and left side of the brain, guys, and right and left side of the heart. It's pumping. In yogic teachings, we say that we have right and left nostrils, so we do balancing exercises for the nostrils. This is why. So we can be unified, as I call it. So now, you know what happens once you start activating all this kind of energy and you come into this state of balance? Now, getting older starts feeling different, doesn't it? Because now you feel activated into the now. Getting lonely feels like, oh, I'm a bit more social now. When the fire's switched on, I'm a little bit more social, I'm a little bit more active, I'm a little bit more leadership energy. Finding meaning, perhaps there's a bit more clarity there. Perhaps you find peace because now you've switched on another side of you that was dormant. So there's this kind of electricity moving through, and the electricity creates peace. What's your thoughts, guys? Does that feel like it fits? Does it feel like it connects to you right now? Someone said, just because you want to live, someone said, we need balance. Just because you want to live, survive, that is instinctive for life, longing for itself. But is it love, or is it like every breath we take, the natural order of the gift of life? Yeah, great. So the funny thing is, right, I came to this insight for myself, which was saying life force is breath. Life force is the natural order that you're saying, nature and how things move. Life force is also love. It's always loving. So our breath is always a form of love. Right? The thing that keeps everything alive is love. Love is life. Because when I make that distinction for a really important reason, because now it shows me and it shows you hopefully that everything is love. Everything is formed through this thing of love. My breath is love, my actions are love. The only time that it doesn't feel that way is when I'm restricting that life force. Now I'm against love. I'm blocking the intuitive feeling. So now I feel inflammation. I feel a bodily sense of my body's inflamed and is getting sick. My mind is getting sick and is thinking too much. It's over indexing because I'm against the life force. I'm going against it. I'm throwing it in a cage. I'm beating it with a stick. And it's going to get a bit deeper now, but hopefully it resonates with some of you guys. A lot of the world has been built that way to force and abuse the life force energy that is she, the force of nature. Abuse, use, lock away, cage, utilize, hack. And what has it done? It just causes us headaches, disconnection, and sadness, and loads of terrible things can happen in the world. Life force embraced, unified with, it's a different game altogether, because now you have the force of life behind you. She, I say she a lot, but you have this force of the life force. Oh wow, you're gonna experience so much bliss. You're gonna not even need to find peace, because you'll be in a state of bliss which creates peace. Your skin will not look old anymore because you'll be radiating. So the ultimate lesson in all of this is the life force. But then there's nuances of how it gets blocked, right? I'm saying life force because it's my brand, it's everything that I stand for. But there's nuances in the thinking that gets in the way, the actions, the speech that we make that is not coherent with it. So now there's all this noise, and now there's all this doubt and questions because there's some thinker that is confusing everything. So I'm going to leave you with a few things just so you are very clear on how you can live your best life as you age, how to have meaning, how to have peace. Number one, notice your body like we did at the start of the session. Let your body be having the awareness of love, of like, hey, I'm going to look at you, I'm going to feel you. So my awareness is love. Just by saying, I'm going to pay attention to you. And I'm going to notice my glutes are tense. Wow, my glutes are tense. Or I just spoke to this person and I'm realizing resistance and stuff. Oh, why is that happening? Okay. So awareness is the first thing. Awareness, body awareness, overall awareness. Second thing is life force, creating energy mastery, foods, everything you're doing, speech, intake, voices you're hearing, all of that's intake. People you're learning from, you're getting brainwashed somewhere by someone or something, right? Just be very aware of how it affects your life force. And then the next thing is to listen in and just say, you know what, there's some reason I'm here. I'm here to learn something and to be something and to embody something. And as soon as you realize that and you allow that and you step into it and you go forth with it, life force will help you on the journey. And the other thing is the heart, like we've just mentioned, allowing the life force to penetrate the heart chakra, allowing this noticing of a swirling around of energy and listening and speaking from that place. Because when you speak from that place, speech creates. You know how many times I've spoken and acted from a place of safety or blocking or defense or pushing someone away. And all it's done is it's just validated fear in any form, even if it seems very clever. It seems very smart and very logical. And it's like, I need to know this and I'm going to say this and I'm going to do this. I need. It's just continuing this fear blocking. So nothing's getting in. No one's getting in now. So no one's getting in. Okay, you happy with that? No one's gonna get in. You can just be alone now. So this is the part of being alone. Getting lonely because no one's getting in now. Because there's blocks and barricades everywhere. You know? And it's normal. We're human. But just notice, is it possible to be aware of that and see if it's possible to let certain people in, right? Don't have to let everyone in, but certain people. And then finally, there's something inside. I might have said this earlier, but I'm going to say a different version of it. There's something inside that wants to be learnt, right? I've had some people hire me just because they wanted to get over a resistance that they had with male figures, right? And I noticed it as a pattern at one point. And then I realized, oh, okay, yeah, this is a thing, right? There's been some damage done somewhere, and we get to mend that forever, right? And I've had the same with men. They haven't had great male relationships, so they come to me and we have a great understanding, right? To help them go forth. And, when we all, one by one, become more free and more powerful and true and choose things, just imagine it has a ripple effect everywhere. That's why I do this work of leadership. So I work with people in corporations, um, who are high up sometimes, and then I work with individuals who are on a spiritual journey, you might call it, or a leadership journey. I think they're both the same thing now, to be honest. Spiritual is leadership to me now. Leading one's life, having a power inside, right? Intuition. So I work with people one on one. I have run a retreat in the past. I may be doing in the future. If you're interested in any of that stuff, then message me directly. If you come to this session and something calls you to say you want to learn more about that, then please message me. Otherwise, you can find plenty of material on my socials. You can find my books if you're interested in how I've laid out certain frameworks and my own story, of course. Um, and anything else, just feel free to reach out. I get messages all the time about interesting things. And remember, the last thing I'm going to say to you, right, is fire. I spent some time in a place called Arunachala recently in south of India. They call it they call it Shiva as a mountain. Call it the fire version of Shiva. And it reminded me, fire burns everything. Yes, be introspective, but don't spend so much time on that because sometimes it can be a block of full expression of oneself. Sometimes it's time to dance and speak and be direct and fast. Save time, you know? You want to make the most out of your time on this earth? How about you save time not thinking so much? I know it's easier said than done, but I hope the playful energy that I'm bringing shows you that it's true, right? That you can feel that possibility of I can be free of thinking. I can be free of thinking through presence and through action and through being honest and authentic and true. Because the thinking's often occurring. The thinking's often occurring. Here's one big lesson, guys. Please listen or even write this one down. Thinking's often occurring because you didn't fully act in the place that you wanted to. So now the thinking's trying to figure out and judge that now. So thinking's happening as a judgment against not being in the full expression. So now it's trying to do all this stuff. It's inflamed. The brain and body are inflamed now because in the first place you just were not going for something. You're not being yourself. You're not being true. So now it's trying to figure stuff out. Why did you do that? It's trying to figure out, how do I avoid doing this next? So that's a teaching I want you guys to feel, right? I know it's not always easy to fully just be ourselves, Its filters is people that have hurt us. I've had it many times. People screwed me over. People have left my life all of a sudden, no explanations. But I think that's all happening for a reason, right? To strengthen us. There's even ways that I look at this of we are creating everything. Everything we see, however we see it, is through our own filters. So we create that. If you keep having relationships that are not going well, how are you creating that? I ask clients that sometimes and they get confronted. And then we figure out, oh, I'm creating it like this. Okay, fine. I'm creating it because I keep avoiding people or I keep being in this way. I keep trying to control or this or that. So now look, I'm creating people getting put off, right? How are you creating money problems? This is a huge one. How do you create money problems? It's happening somehow. How do you create bad habits? That one can be easier to figure out sometimes, right? Emotional eating, this and that and that. Often bad habits are coming because we're trying to fill a void because we're not happy with something. Again, I'm being very direct today, guys. Very, very direct. I hope you're taking it in. I hope it's okay. Yeah, hard to ingest at times. Yeah, I know. I'm coming from love, as you know, right? Like I said before, love can be aggressive, love can be direct, but I hope you feel that it's love when I say all of this. So, guys, we're going to close the session shortly, but what I want to do before we finish, number one, I want us to ground. We'll do that for a moment to end, to create a ritualistic closure of today's loop that we have opened. And then secondly, I want you to ask me anything. Ask questions. I will take 5 questions, maybe more, depends how many come in. Ask me a question about liberation, about aliveness, about abundance, right? About career moves that you want to make, about making money if you really want that to be a topic, right? Creating a business, creating great health, freedom from loneliness, anything that has come up from today, anything that's top of mind for you right now that you would love an answer to from the world that you've been searching for, you've been thinking about, put the answers in the chat. I'm going to let the answers collect up. Then we're going to do a grounding practice and then I'll answer the questions to finish. So we've got one question there. Who else has got some questions? While we're waiting, just allow yourself to notice your breath. While other people are typing their questions in, just notice your breath. Notice how you feel about this session. Do you feel good leaving it? Do you feel good being in a space with me? With us? With these things that I've presented to you? How do you feel leaving right now? Just feel that in your body. No need to say it. Do you feel a bit of aliveness moving through your body? So we've got a second question in. 3 more questions I'll take. So put them in the chat. Notice your breath. Notice who you are right now as an experience. Just look around the room and just say, I'm here right now. Wow. All right. Any more questions, guys? I'm going to take a few more. I'll start answering those 2. Put some more in there. This is literally asking anything that you've been wondering or you'd love to know right now, and you would leave so happy if you have the answer to that question, so you don't need to think any more about it. You see how direct I am about that? I'm very confident that if you put your question in there, I will find a way to help you move forward. So I'll take two more. We have three in there. The first one is how to liberate from average to rich girl. Hmm. So you mean financially rich. So actually, that's the lesson. You see, I got it right there very quickly. Intuitively, average to rich girl. So that could be financially, but I got an intuition that is something inside. It's an identity. It's a way of seeing oneself, even in the way that you said it, right? Average to rich girl. Girl is an identifier, right? You're identifying yourself as that. So it's a different way of looking at money. So I love that everyone's got the wealth stuff in here. I love it. You know, one of my most popular not chat, sorry, my recordings is called Money Heart Set versus Money Mindset. I get messages about that one all the time. And it surprised me because I didn't come into this stuff wanting to help people with money. But then I realized the money thing is actually a representation of our state, right? Even the wondering of it, even how we're collecting it or what's happening with it, is a reflection of our inner state. So I love these money questions that are coming in. Yeah, maybe that would be my next session about money. I haven't done one of those in a while. So average to rich girl for a moment. So first, really know what good looks like to you, right? In terms of a material wealth. And this is to all of you as well. What does it look like? Good look like? I said to myself a while back, I created a lifestyle goal, actually, a work goal. I said, in my career, I want to be earning X amount every year, and I'll be really happy with that. And I even summoned my grandfather, who's deceased, who has been helping me in ways through meditation, let's call it. And I said to him, this is a number that feels good. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not like being greedy through my ego, but this feels like a good number where I could live a really good life. Decide on a number. Start with that, right? Be specific. Wealth specific is helpful. And then I said, what do I want that for? So I decided I want to be living a lifestyle which allows me to have a lot of freedom. So my wealth has become freedom. My wealth is I am in India right now and I'm getting paid, and people are coming to me for me to help them to lead their lives and live in abundance and have peace and be fully expressed. How amazing is that? I'm literally doing that for work, right? Whereas that was a dream before. So wealth is an interesting word, right? I want you to really define that, all of you guys. That is one of the focuses I'm having for this year, actually. I'm helping people with wealth, but I'm describing wealth in a holistic, unified way, as I call it, which is what does it look like, right? What kind of life do you live? I want to live a life, this is what I said to myself, where I work 3 weeks out of 4, and I only work 3 days, maximum 4 every week. So I have a week off every month. I have 10 days off actually. 10 days out of 30. I'm free. No one's getting into my calendar. I'm very strict about that. Even if someone's paying me money, I'm very strict. I have a week off so I can travel and enjoy. I'm very specific. So I want you to be specific about what that looks like. This is what I would do with you if you're a client of mine. I would help you create that specific goal and then the specific money you would like to make. And then we will work in terms of what will create that for you. So we'll think about your career, what you're doing, what will turn that into that lifestyle, that money, what kind of mindset stuff do we have to create and install and remove blocks, beliefs, right? So I'm a rich girl, or I'm an average girl. Yeah, okay, you're an average girl. That's what you believe you are. What's going to happen, right? What's going to happen if you believe that? You're going to start getting more of that, right? But if we create a you in a different way of thinking, I create this wealth, this material wealth, because it's for this purpose, it's helping me with this, and it's going to help people with this, and now the money is a flow. So I get paid well. I charge a good fee for what I do, but people get massive results from that. And then the money that's coming in, I get to do something with that, right? So I'm looking at money very differently now as a flow, a circulating energy that can go round. And then you'll probably become a rich girl. That's my answer to your question. Let me know if that helped. Let me know if that hit anyone else. I'm going to go to the next one. Is it possible to have wealth when others are starving and still, where's it gone? I've lost it. Actually, let me go to the other one first. Ways to increase income at 60. At 60. So I've had a traumatic experience, which I'm not ready to share about, to be honest. But let's just say I lost a lot of wealth at one point, suddenly. Very extremely challenging time in my life. Um, but before that happened, I would have said, invest, uh, put your money into really good places that will help you make money, right? But now I have a different view, right? If you're 60, I would look at what you care about as a lifestyle, as an energetic experience, what you're passionate about, and then start looking at that, and then looking at the income as well, right? So you're 60, and what kind of life do you want to live? Then you'll know how much money you actually want and need, right? What for? What do you want income for, right? What do you want it for? Is it for fear of something or safety? Or is it for some purpose? Nothing's bad or good, but I just want you to identify that, right? Okay, let me see what else we've got. Is it possible to have wealth when others are starving and still consider yourself a good person? Very good question. Can love can, and contempt coexist? It's a very good question. I will tell you why, because I've been in places like Peru and I've seen women, and as you can tell, I'm very passionate about feminine force, right? I have three sisters. Most people I work with are female or historically have been. I also work with men, but men that, let's just say, have a bit more openness and are, wanting to grow, let's just say. Um, so yeah, I'm in Peru and there's women on the streets hustling to sell me a cup of tea, right? And it's cost nothing for a person that's from the UK or US or wherever you guys are from to pay for that. And then they're sitting out there all day. And I felt, do you know how bad I felt? There was a period in my life where I felt bad for having money. I felt extremely guilty. And this probably links into why I lost the money at that point in my traumatic period in my life, because I was feeling bad. So maybe there was something out there that was balancing that out for me, right? I was feeling bad. So that's kind of answering your question. However, right, if you have wealth and you're able to give and you want to give, is I'm not, and I'll be very direct with you guys, right? I'm not one of the people who are going to make up this act of like, hey, yeah, you must go and do good in the world and that's what everything is about. And I've seen it all. I've seen people who talk in that way sometimes, and really it's just they just want to feel good about themselves, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine, right? But there are ways to give back as well at the same time, to do something meaningful. So I think if you have wealth and you're coming from a pure place and you want to give it away, or you're just happy, you're just very okay with, I'm gonna generate this because I want to create a better life for my family or for some reason or for myself, then fine, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think there's just an awareness. right? An awareness of what happens when you notice that there's challenging things into the world, right? Can you give back? Do you want to give back? How do you feel about yourself through that? So it's a good question. Someone said when protective, I'm going to take a few more. I think we've got two more, and we're going to close the session because we're going to get overrun in a minute. So when protective rage wants to destroy the world, is there a way to act on that fire without destructiveness, or is it only life-giving through its destructiveness? Ooh, okay. Protective rage can be love, right? Protective rage is love. If you're acting on it and it's through love and care, then, you know, then is it life-giving? That's kind of, I'm going to turn that question out into you. Is it giving life? Is it doing something for a meaning and purpose? Right? Like I said earlier, if someone is trying to attack someone you love, then would it be useful to have protective rage? I'm sure it would. If that's the only method that's coming through as natural in the moment, that's going to help, then sure, why not? Right? And I'll tell you why. I'm going to share a deep story that I have not ever said before. It's just come up now. And I'm going to try and see where my emotions go when I share this. I already feel it's going to bring something up. There's this one time where I'm in the toilet, right? I'm in my parents' home, and I hear uh, some like noise, some cars are going on outside, and I hear some shouting, and like I didn't know what was going on, but I heard someone shouting, and my dad was outside, and I'm in the toilet, and I knew something was up. I knew something was wrong, but I was just holding on and just like waiting for it to disappear, right? It's a protective mechanism. Just wait, hoping it just disappears. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't get up and act. I didn't go outside to just see what's happening, right? My dad's out there. I knew my dad was out there, but I didn't know what was going on, right? And then later I come out the toilet in this kind of like weak, this like hiding mode, right? I come out of the toilet and someone says, "Oh yeah, that guy was shouting at dad, didn't you hear? Didn't you hear?" And my dad looked a bit shook up, and I was like, "What? My dad's a strong man. Like, how has this happened?" And I held back. Someone's threatening my father, you know? You know how bad I felt? So bad. And I was sitting there scared. Imagine something had happened. I was pissed after. And doesn't help being pissed after at someone, you know? Because who knows what could have happened in a situation. So protective rage. It taught me a lesson. We have to stand up. We have to stand up for what's right, you know? We have to step in and step into that power. If something's wrong in the world, there's people I've coached who want to do something good or stand up for their people, for certain rights. You stand up. You got to do it. There's a reason why I support women because there's a lot of abuse, you know, hurt. And the reason I support men is to help them to be diligent and exercise their power in a responsible way, right? So we have all of these things in us for a reason, guys. Fire is calling you. This is the year, the theme of the year is fire for me. So if you're called to that, if you want to be more fiery, if you're not used to being that, you're used to being the nice person, the thinker, it's time for you to be fully expressed as fire. This will be the most liberating path beyond any meditation you've ever done, beyond all the spiritual stuff that's soft and it's kept you in that place. fire will be so freeing because it will unleash you. So if you're up for that, if you're being called out right now and you're excited, then drop me a message. So let me see what else we've got. How to unblock. I'm not sure what you mean by how to unblock, but you have to be more specific. Unblock what? What else have we got? How can I release my fear of not being a social person? Life circumstances have made me rather solo, but I have trouble accepting it and not being fearful daily that I'm alone. Okay. Fear of not being a social person. Life circumstances have made you rather solo. So what I get from that is you are desiring connection. You value people, but you don't think you're a people person. I think what it might be is that you're just looking for a certain kind of people. That's true for me as well. I don't want to hang around with everyone. I don't want anyone to have I don't want everyone to have my contact details or message me, right? People can, but I am selectively social. I'm selectively I'm selective even with who works with me. Even if someone wants to work with me, I'll ask them questions first. Tell me a little bit about it. What do you want to work on? Is there resonance? Yeah, give me some energy. And then I'll give energy back. So I hope that helps. I think you crave something specific, right? So it's not that you're not social. Everyone's social. Everyone loves the feeling of touch of another person. You know, I don't care what anyone says, that's true. I started realizing that a while back when I became a yogi and secluded myself. I started realizing I like the feeling of bodily touch, hugs, not with everyone, but when there's a good connection, right? We all like other people, no matter what we say. It's just that we are sometimes sensitive, so we like certain types of people. So I challenge you to call more of those people into your life, Ali. Find more people like that. Call it in inside and then take outside actions that will get you there. Listen to those callings. Connect with those kind of people, right? Even if it's three, three is good sometimes. So I think that's going to be it, guys. I hope you all got lots from this session. It's been over an hour and a half. I didn't realize it would go on for that long, but you guys have been quite interactive. Um, as a last as a last point, I just want you to feel your body once again. I love touches and hugs, not from everyone. Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to be touched by anyone. Some guy one time, I was in Brazil one time, and some guy starts getting weird and starts like touching me and stuff. And I realize he's into men and I'm not into men, right? And I was like, hey, like, what's up with you? You don't just touch people, you know? So you have to know what kind of people you want to attract into your life and enjoy that. So we'll end the talk, the session, get into your body, allow your body to land, take in all the insights from today, take in the energy of who you are, feel your heart, feel your breath, feel your third eye, where the vision lives, where the unity lives, where the bliss and the freedom in your third eye. I'm in India right now. I'm obviously Indian, connected to all the ancestors within me, funneling through me, all the yogis, all of them funneling through me, funneling into you, through my voice into your third eye. Find that silence in your third eye. And then don't just stay there, bring your attention to your heart and your body. and feel activated for your life right now. Live. Don't just float. Live. Be who you are. Make that statement inside like a drum. Be who you are. Be who you are with fire. And take relentless action on that thing that you know is inside. Tomorrow, make a commitment. I support you if no one else does. Feel your whole body, your stomach, your heart, fire inside of you. Your love, the listening voice, the divine energy that listens and loves and cares. And the divine energy that destroys things in your path and activates your body into action. Feel that unification of both, that liberation, that mastery, that power. And open your eyes. We'll end the session there, guys. If you want to be close to my world, sign up to my mailing list. I will be sharing opportunities for you, for the right people, to join private sessions, group private sessions, potential meetings, and it will only come to people that are on the mailing list. So join that. You will get things from me through your mail. And for other short shares, I may be sharing things on social media as well. But one of my missions is to get people off social media, through social media, and into traditional things like mail, calls, live things. So I'll leave you there. Lots of love. I hope you got lots from this. If you like, there is a donation button. I have a abundant full-time job, so I don't say that for you to desperately fund my life, but I do get a good energy from seeing people's names who donate, and that just ends up creating a pot for me to donate somewhere else, right? So I'll leave that with you. Like I said, come into my world. Lots of love. Remember who you are. Stay unified. Stay on purpose. Live every day with purpose. Nothing else matters. I'll see you later. Namaste.